Hello, everybody. It's just me so far. But anger, bitterness, resentment, oh my. How do I use the law to fix it? That is our topic today. Let me slide into the chat on my iPad here so I know what I'm communicating with. And I trust that you can hear me. Um, there we go. And I am there. So, anger, bitterness, resentment, oh my. We all deal with these things. You have the scenario where you hear, someone who's in your life and they may have hurt you, you know, they may have taken you for everything. You understand? They may have, like, seriously, they may have really wounded you emotionally. And not only that, but they ran off with money. They abandoned you when you needed them the most. These are the kinds of situations that we go through as humans, right? So how do you use the law to fix it? I'm going to tell you this right now. If you find yourself in this position where you are, let me just do this for now. You find yourself in that position where you are wounded by someone. And when you look out into the world and you see them, they're doing great. They're prospering. And you're sitting over here like, wait, what the heck? Why is this happening to me? Like, why are they getting better and I'm struggling and stuck over here? They're doing very well because they're not hung up on the fact that they should feel guilty for what they did. You must understand this. As within, so without. You're over here hung up on the fact that they've hurt you. Hello, Empress Ella. You're over here hung up on the fact that they've hurt you and wronged you, and there seems to be no justice, no karma. Where is karma when you need it? And then you say, well, why are they prospering and I'm not? Because they are not sitting and holding guilt or remorse. And the reason why they prosper is because they're not holding on to those things. As within, so without. Angela, how dare you? How could you say such a thing? I'm telling you the law. You're the one sitting and feeling the resentment, feeling the anger, feeling the hurt, feeling the betrayal. You're sitting there, you're feeling it, you're festering in it. As within, so without. So there comes a point in your life where you acknowledge, you know what happened to me wasn't fair, it wasn't right, it wasn't cool, but you know what? If I sit here and I hold on to it, the only person I'm going to be hurting is myself. Because when you look out at them, they're rolling in the dough. They're prospering, they're going places, they're doing all the things you want to do. Because you know what they're focused on? Doing the things that you wanted to do. That's where their focus is. They're doing it. They're enjoying themselves. And that's why they prosper. That's why they prosper. Because they're not holding on to resentment. They're not holding on to anger. They're not holding on to bitterness the way that you are. That seems like a tough pill to swallow, but when you put it into perspective, you must understand that if you hold on to it, and you hold on to it for long enough, because you know how powerful it is, right? So now you're really polarized. The more you hold on to it, the longer you hold on to it, it is going to make you do something. And the something that you do, well, will not bode well for you. Think about this for a minute. If you are walking around with that kind of thing right here in your chest, if you walk around with that, the law, it doesn't care who you're looking at. When you look out at George and George ripped you off and George is making money hand over fist and you're sitting here stewing about George, the law doesn't know you're looking at George. The law knows that you feel anger. The law knows that you feel resentment. Well, are you saying that the law punishes me for how I feel? No. I'm telling you that the law asks you, how do you want to feel? Because if you continue to feel this way, you are guaranteed what you're going to reap. Does that make sense today? Because this is why you can't always look at the other person and what they are accomplishing in their life. You have to look at where you are and what you are accomplishing. If you look at them, this is why this also kind of encroaches on forgiveness. It's not that you have to forgive them for the wrong that they've done you. What you have to acknowledge is the more you hold on to the wrong, the bigger the wrong becomes. And then it seeps into every other facet of your life. So you have to now weigh this scenario. Do I want to hold on to the resentment because how dare they? Or do I want to let go of the resentment because my life is more important to me? My betterment is more important to me. My family's existence is more important to me. Or do I just want to sit here and fester with that? So the law is asking you today, it is showing you, if you are struggling with anger towards someone, it is even anger towards oneself. You're mad at yourself for making the decision that you made, right? You're mad at yourself for making that. Why couldn't I make a better decision? Oh, why couldn't I have made a better decision? That's what you're asking. And you're mad at yourself. You're frustrated with yourself. It does not matter where the impetus comes from that generates the feeling within you. It doesn't matter whether you inflicted it or it was inflicted upon you, as long as you are walking with any type of feeling that is contrary to where you want to be, you'll stay there. This is law, not Angela's opinion. There aren't any opinions in the law. It is just the law. Just like an acorn becomes an oak, that is law. So you walk with the resentment, right? So how do you overcome that? How do you overcome the anger, the frustration, the resentment towards someone who has inflicted it upon you? Well, first of all, you acknowledge it because it wasn't right and it wasn't fair. But then you turn inward and you say, well, as within, so without. So I don't want to keep reaping this repercussion all the time. So I just want to be at ease now. You know what? I'm important. I am important. My accomplishments are important to me. If I sit here and hold this resentment, I will block myself from being happy. And not only will they continue to prosper, but if I continue to look at them, then I continue to get mad and I continue to not prosper. And what would I prefer to have? Would I prefer to prosper or do I want to suffer? That is what you ask yourself. And when you ask yourself that question, you honestly, the first thing you will say is, you know what? Have it go, whatever. And you apply the law to move yourself from where you are, which means you change your thought. Change your perspective about the thing that you're looking at. Yes, they hurt you. Now, which one of us has not experienced hurt? It is only the degree of hurt that separates us, you know. This person's hurt was worse than. But that's not what we're about. We're not about seeing if I can trump you or not. That's not what we're doing. We are looking at the situation to assess, is this what I want? Is this where I want to be? That's what we're looking at. And so when you look at that and you say to yourself, you know what? It is better for me to close that door, close that window, pull the shutter. No. I'm going to use my time now to focus on building my success. And when you do that, you now begin to repolarize yourself. So that means if you get up today and you entertain thoughts about George and his success at your loss, you'll beat yourself up. You'll feel bad about yourself. You'll feel guilty for what you've done. How could I not have seen it? And then you set yourself back. But then you get up the next morning and you make a decision. You say, no, I'm going to be this way now. And so you start doing it that way. And when you start doing it that way, you get up the following morning and you do it that way again. You apply your own direction. You have to polarize yourself in the direction you want to go in. So when you polarize yourself over there in that area, now you're talking. But you got to get up and do it every morning because you matter to you every morning, do you not? You matter to you. You are your biggest supporter. So then you have to look at it and understand that it has nothing to do with them. It has nothing to do with anyone but you. The law only sees how you behave in response to stimulus. It doesn't know what the stimulus is. It just knows you are responding. And so the more you respond in the same way, you build that habit of responding that way every time. So now, to take initiative, because you can't beat yourself up, you can't feel guilty, you can't feel angry at yourself for making mistakes. We don't make mistakes, we learn. We encounter an experience, and then we auto-correct. That is what we do. So now that you know that you're using the law of correspondence, shoot, you know you're using all seven. But this one stands out the most because as within you, you must experience on the outside. Does this make sense today? Because I find that some of us are hurting really bad with the stuff that's been done to us, said about us, etc. And we feel stuck. But the truth of the matter is you're only stuck because your thoughts are stuck in that area. So how can you be free if your thoughts are not free? The way you see yourself, your value of yourself, which means, look, I would love for karma to come along and get George right now. But you know what? I'm just going to focus on where I want to excel. That is what you do. That is what you do, and you do it every day, because today you may feel like George is no problem, but tomorrow something happens, an opportunity that was supposed to be yours that George now has, and you get up and you're like, why I oughta, and that's what you feel like. And so then you struggle. But to pull yourself from that struggle, remind yourself you are valuable, you are important, but to who? You, the one in the mirror. That's who you're important to. That is who you are of value to. Not the person on the outside. But if you keep, hear me, listen. If you keep leaning in the direction of being upset with yourself, of being upset with them, having resentment. Oh, I can't believe you did that to me. You are now polarizing yourself in the direction for successful perpetuation of your problem. That's what you're doing, because you'll be successful at it. That's what habits do. But if you say, you know what? No, you're not going to steal. You're not going to steal my happiness. You're going to steal my joy. No, I'm going to turn myself over here. And I'm going to focus on what I can be doing to expand my own life. Instead of looking at yours and wishing I had it. No, I'm going to look at yours and build mine. Because here's the thing. You built it once, you can build it again. Does this make sense to you today? I know there's two of you here. Empress Ella, you are one. And I think I'm the other. Does that make sense? Feel free to ask for more elaboration if you'd like. If you want to apply it to a specific situation. Because we do it and we get really mad. We get really, because you see, it's not that we get angry, right? It's not that we get angry. It's that we are fearful that we will stay stuck and we won't progress. But that person seems to be progressing, and you and I are not. And so the fear is what makes us angry. Oh no, what if I'm stuck like this forever? That's where we get stuck. We begin to ruminate about it all the time. And so that's why I say to you, it is important that you value your own existence, which means somebody has wronged you. It's not okay that they did that. It isn't. It wasn't right. It wasn't fair. I get all of that. Believe me, I have my fair share of wrongdoings that I did and did to other people. I've had my fair share. But, you have to decide that you and your progression, your growth, your abundance is more important to you than being angry at the other person. And let me tell you something. People can be vile. People can be nasty. And they can do a whole lot of stuff. But at the end of the day, if you get caught up in what they've done to you, as within, so without, you're holding that hurt. And so long as you hold it, you must keep experiencing it. Not because you're being punished, not because you're bad, but because that's the way the law works. You're not going to get that little sweet green pea that you're going to put in the ground and go, carrots, I'm getting carrots. It's never going to happen. So long as you hold on to the thing inside that is making you you, what did they tell you? When you squeeze the orange, what comes out? Orange juice. So when life now comes along and somebody does something and they were acting a fool and whatever they were, what's going to happen? Are you going to remain bitter? Are you going to remain angry? Because every interaction from there is going to be tainted by the perspective of anger, bitterness, resentment. Why? Because you're going to think, well, I may as well hurt before I'm hurt, because that's what I can expect from people, because look what happened to me last time. Get it? So you are the one who has to be of utmost importance to your own self to, as my bestie would say, have some standards. Have some standards. Do not allow yourself to be walked over or walked upon. You're not a mat. And we continue to allow people to do that to us because we sit there and we fester. Oh, I oughta. Okay, so you go out and you do something to them. Who's getting arrested? Well, not them. The court does not see what they did to you first. The court just simply sees how you respond to it. So if you respond out of spite and anger and you cause harm because you feel justified, now look at what you're going to have to sit there and say. Why did this happen to me? Why? Because you entertained the anger, the bitterness, the resentment, the rage. You entertained it. And listen, the more you entertain it, what do you know happens? The more you are polarized in a particular place, the more it begins to vibrate. And the more it vibrates, the faster it vibrates, the more magnetic it becomes. And the more magnetic it becomes, now you've just pulled something towards you that matches it. Double A vibes, I see you, baby. It's good to see you. So you sit there and you fester and you fester and you pout and you get mad. And the more you do it, the more magnetic it becomes. And then all of a sudden you are presented with an opportunity to cause harm. And because you're feeling the way you do, what do? Take the opportunity. You take the opportunity. And then how does that end up for you? Yeah, exactly. Not good at all. And now, not only were your feelings hurt, not only were you stolen from, not only were you, not only did somebody take from you, but now you took from yourself. And then what happens? You get more angry at yourself. How could I do that? How could I let that happen to me? How could I give in to that? Oh, and here we go. The cycle continues. So at some point, you have to stop the cycle. You have to stop it. And how do you stop it? You stop it by understanding you are valuable. You say it, I am valuable. Well, how do you know you're valuable? What does the law tell you? The law says, as within, so without. So if you hold value within yourself, well, then you must experience that value on the outside. But if you hold a poor view of yourself within you, well, then other people have to treat you that way. So you see, the law is always coaxing you. Come hither, darling, come hither, is what the law is doing to you. And saying, rise, my creation, rise. That's what the law is saying to you. Every time, rise above. Oh God, Angela, I'm tired of hearing about rising above. I'm tired of rising above. I'm tired of always taking the high road. How many times have I heard that? I'm tired of having to do the right thing all the time. Nobody else has to do the right thing. Why should I? You do the right thing because the right thing is a seed that you are planting. Do the right thing and you reap the right fruit, the right harvest. That's what it's for. You think it has anything to do with anybody else but you? It's all you. It's not anybody else. But now, if we give in, that means we allow other people to come in. And here we are. I'll show you. The puppet on the string, and you dance and you move wherever they push and pull you. And now you're a slave. Because justification is more important. Don't think for one moment that I don't understand how important it is to have justice. I do. I do. Sometimes retribution is swift. Hard and swift is retribution sometimes. We call it instant karma. That's what we call it. But karma is causation, cause and effect. But what we're dealing with here today is anger, bitterness, and resentment. Oh my. And using the law to fix it. You use the law to show you your own value so that you can replicate your own value. You see, that person or that situation is there. And sometimes, here's what it is. Because we live on this planet with 8 billion people, okay? You're going to encounter personalities that are not like yours, but you are passing them by on the parallel. But if you allow what that other vibration does to influence you in a negative way, now you are doing it. You're doing this with that other vibration. And it's not what you want. So stay the course and just pass it by. You'll see it. You'll, oh my God, what a Karen. But you don't have to engage with the Karen. Why would you? To what benefit? This is why I'm saying to you today, we all have encountered people and things in our lives that cause us to feel anger. And if that anger goes on untreated, it becomes bitterness. And bitterness, ooh. When you think about bitter, it makes you pucker up, doesn't it? It's bitter. What do you think happens to your body? It begins to shrink. It begins to wither from the bitterness within it. It begins to, and then you end up with lots of wrinkles in the face, and you look like just a weathered hag. Do you want that to happen to you? No, you don't. So put yourself first and foremost. You put yourself first and foremost, and you say, you know what? I'm too good for that nonsense. My joy is important to me. You're not going to suck it out of me. No, thank you. And that's what you do to it. And you turn your back on it, and you polarize yourself in the direction that you want to go in. That is what you do. Hello. I see you, Ms. M. That's right. You say, no, thank you. I'm good. I'll pass. And but is it always easy? No, it is not always easy. There's some people I want to cuss out. But what's that going to get me? Right, Ms. M? I don't want the withered and haggard look in the face. I'll take the vibrancy of joy. But to get the vibrancy of joy, you got to choose the joy. That's how it is, right? So that we don't get caught up in the, oh my God, I'm so withered and haggard. That's just because you chose bitterness. Because, as I said, it's not necessarily an easy thing to do. And if you find that it is not easy, take a break. Put it on the back burner. Here's the example. This is why I love my bestie. Here's the example. You got a pot of water boiling on the stove and the doorbell rings. Two choices. Turn off the stove and go get the door. Or go get the door and be fully engaged in the conversation, and then all of a sudden you smell something burning. The pot has just burned dry. So it is exhausting to always keep the thing going all the time. So remove your energy from it. Your energy is what? Your attention. The more you look at it, the more it angers you. The more you think about them and their success that they stole from you, it angers you. That's the energy you're putting behind it. The energy you put behind it is what makes it stronger. And because it makes it stronger, you know as well as I do, that vibration begins to move faster and becomes more magnetized. And then you get to suck all of those things that are just like that into your orbit so you can experience them. So I get how challenging it can be. Then remove your attention from it. Do something else. And do it like that. Begin to think about it like that real quick. Oh, you make me so mad. Stop it right there. Right there like that. And you say, no, no thanks. I'm good. Real quick. If music helps you to pivot like that real fast, turn on the music. If a joke that you remember helps you to pivot real fast, laugh. But the point of the matter is you must change the direction of the energy, your attention. Look at the word direction. Resident etymologist, I don't see him yet. But direction ends with Tion. Where's attention? Attention has Tion on the back of it as well. Where you put your focus, attention. Where you put your focus, look at the power of your words. And so that's why sometimes it can be difficult to just say, nope, I'm not going to do it. Hello, Ruby. I see you. This makes sense today? Feel free to ask so we can clarify and get you through your situation so that you're not roped in. And the funny thing happens, when you get roped into these kinds of situations where somebody has done you wrong, somebody's done you wrong. Sometimes we go and we share that with somebody else. Somebody say, oh my God, you'll never believe what they did to me. If I tell you what this so-and-so did to me, right? Hey, Nod, I see you. Hey. That's what we do. The minute we've been offended, now hear me, I'm not making light of your offense. But what I'm telling you is, weigh it. Weigh it. Is the offense more valuable than you? Is the offense more valuable than you? If the offense is more valuable than you, well then, rock on with that. But if you recognize that you are more valuable than the offense, well then your behavior should correspond with the value. Your behavior of elevation of, no, I shall not partake in such violence. I shall not. I see myself as more valuable than that. And then you carry on with the value. But if you sit there and you entertain it, and the more you tell the story, let me tell you what she did. Let me tell you what he said. Let me tell you how he made me feel. She made me feel. And it becomes this rolling stone in like an avalanche. And it will bowl over you and flatten you and leave you feeling weak and defeated. And that is not what you want at all in your life. Because when you start to feel that way, now you speak that way, and you act that way, and you begin to treat other people that way as well. So you see, it doesn't stop, does it? Until you stop it. So, again, I say to you, I'm not taking what you went through for granted. Because all of us, to varying degrees, have been hurt, or we've been the ones to do the hurting, right? That's what I'm saying to you today. Ms. M, good point. Is the offense more valuable than you? Will you put your desires or happiness above it, even though you're entitled to hate that person? This is what it is. If we did that, now, first of all, notice how it swings both ways. If we recognized how important we were, we would not instill those kinds of feelings and offense in others either. Oh, that one stings. If we knew how valuable we were, and we respected our own value, we would not recreate offenses in other people. I'm talking deliberate offenses as well. You know. And glass house, right? because that's where that scripture, let ye without sin cast the first stone. This is why you don't judge. But you see your value and you elevate yourself from there. This is the most important thing ever. The law of correspondence is telling you, as a man thinketh, therefore he is. Alan Watts. As within, so without. As above, so below. These are the things that the law of correspondence teaches. So we have got, just like she says in there, even though you are entitled, you are well within your right. You are well within your right to hate them for the vile treatment that you suffered at their hands. You are within your right to do so. But it comes at a cost. And if you're not willing to pay that price, because the funny thing is, that price is an investment. Oh, and it pays dividends because it keeps rolling over and over and over and over in your life into every single other relationship. So you got to ask, is the offense more valuable than me? Miss T-versation, I see you, darling. I see you. Ponder these things. Ponder them. Because as I say to you, I get it and I understand exactly how you feel. And I'm harping at you today because you are more valuable than the offense. You are more valuable than the offense that you suffered. And until you begin to recognize that about yourself, now how are you going to learn it? The law of correspondence tells you, as within, so without. If you live from a confident place within the self, a place of respect within the self, then you will experience that respect and confidence on the outside of you. So you can't say, well, nobody told me how to be. The law is telling you, as within, so without. You want to be treated with respect? Well, then you have to have standards. How do we get standards, Angela? You get standards by knowing you, one. Two, what are you willing to tolerate? If you tell somebody to meet me here at 3 o'clock and it's 4:30 and they haven't showed and they haven't called, but they come at 4:45. Oh my God, it's so good to see you. Or will you choose your words wisely and simply say, I waited? Or if they call you and you decided to leave after 4 o'clock and you didn't see them, and they call you and say, oh my God, I'm here, where were you? Where are you? And you say, you know what? I just need you to know that my time is valuable. I set aside this time for us to meet, and you weren't here. So I went on and did the other things that were also important today. As opposed to staying there and waiting for that whole hour and a half, only to have them come and show up and talk to you like nothing has happened, and you bite your tongue and you're holding that offense. Standards. If you say, meet me at this time, or you say, I'll meet you at this time, follow through with it. Lag with the internet today. But does that make sense to you today? Because, like I say, sometimes the offense is so, it is so vile and heinous. It is. But it doesn't excuse anybody's bad behavior. Like I'm talking about, like if physical harm was done to you and you have to report these things to the police. then you do those things. You must do them, because now you're saying, listen, I value my person, and you violated my person. So will, you have to pay for that. And you know what that will help you to do? It will help you to not be angry at yourself. It will help you to not resent yourself, because you should have known better. You should have done better. All of us shoulda, coulda, woulda. But because you shoulda, coulda, woulda doesn't mean you deserve the offense. And when you take responsibility and you say, listen, I'm going to prosecute this, then you do it, because it releases you from the anger, because once it is over, it is done. It's done. And those are when I say physical things. But when it's just an offense with words, or they took your savings, like what? You see what you see? I hear you. The only person at the end of the day who will continue to hurt if you do not release it. How do you release it? You release it by understanding that you are better. You are worthwhile. You are worthy. Oh, well, that's just too simple. You want it to be harder? Look at how hard it is to let go of the offense in the first place. You want it to be harder than that? No. Double A says, but bitterness is sometimes part of the human condition. Exactly. We go through things, we experience things, because there's 8 billion people on the planet. So yes, that's what makes it the human. You are also correct when you say, because it is part of the human condition, it does not need to define who you become. Right? Trust me. You ever met somebody who's bitter? Woo! And they're just holding on to it. That's what I'm saying to you today. Allow yourself to release these things, because you are valuable. Because the law tells you that you are. It tells you what you are inside is what you are on the outside. So if you want to hold on to the anger, well, go ahead, because you're justified. But there's a certain point where justification has to stop, and your well-being has to come into play. Your well-being. Being well. Does this make sense to you today? Because I understand. I understand. There's so many things that happen in our day. But as I said, there's 8 billion people on the planet, and we are walking by each and every one of them. You know how in the Matrix, when he was saying, he's walking down the sidewalk with Neo, and the guy bumped into him? That's a vibration. And the woman in the red dress, she's a vibration. But now we have an option. Do we engage? Because remember, you're running parallel. But in order for you to intersect with that thing, you've got to be the same vibration as it. So if that thing is lower than you, and you choose to intersect with it, to entangle with it, what did you just do? You lowered your vibration so you could interact with it. But why would you do such a thing? Why? For what purpose? You know how people say, oh, she picked the wrong one today. You picked the wrong person today, right? That person chose to entangle with you, to teach you something. Cause and effect, yes? Okay, friend, it's good to see you. But you see what you feel me today? Anger, bitterness, resentment. Oh my. Definitely part of the human condition. But the human condition, right? It's just a condition. You can change conditions. You ever had a plant that had brown leaves? What did you do? Change the conditions of the plant we're in. You can change your human condition as well by understanding that you are not bound to stay offended. I'm just saying. I'm just telling you what the law is. You're not bound to remain in a state, because it is a state. Remember Neville Goddard? All states already exist. You just slide into the one you want. You just assume the one that you want. And if offense is the one that you want, go ahead. But it's not, you know what I mean? It's not gonna benefit you in the long run. The whole point of creation is to expand. But when we hold on to the offense, we contract. We stop the growth. We stop it. And if you think about it, you spend all that time holding on to the anger, the bitterness, resentment. What have you done? You're so busy bringing those things to yourself that, because you're holding on to it. As long as you hold on to it, you have to keep seeing it. And so now there's something over here that you want, but you can't have it. Not because anybody's withholding it from you, but because the vibration is full already with the anger, bitterness, and resentment. And so if you say, oh, I'm done with that, as soon as you drop it, falls right in your lap, and you're like, oh my God, how'd that happen? How'd that manifest that? What did I do? What sweet spot did I hit? You changed the vibration is what you did. That's what you did. So you see how holding on to these things that are, yes, justifiable, how they can block you from the things you want. This is why selfishness is important. Not the way the world sees it. You have to be selfish. Ain't nobody gonna love you like you. Like, they're not going to. When you draw that line in the sand and you say, this is who I am. When you draw that line in the sand and you declare that, now, if you watch what I told you before, the law does not create humility in where the world has it. Oh, you must be humble. You must be meek. You must be my doormat. Don't get too confident. Don't get too cocky. Don't. No. The law tells you as you are within is what you will be on the outside. You want to be confident, then walk with your shoulders up. Walk with your head and your eyes up if you want to be confident. You can't just say, I am confident, and then don't behave like you're confident. This is why I say don't always do a mindless affirmation. Because if you're confident and sure of yourself, you behave that way. I mean, you behave that way, and somebody comes along and rubs you the wrong way. You see it for what it is, and you say, I'm going to let that one slide. You go. Because my peace is more important to me. My sanity is more important to me. Getting what I want in this life is more important to me than having negativity and just these things bog me down. If we saw what we were doing to ourselves, that's what would make it easier sometimes. Seeing what we're actually doing to ourselves. You're actually withholding your expansion from yourself. You're withholding your sustenance from yourself when you continue to partake in the anger, the bitterness, the resentment, the rage. Call it what you want. So long as you keep partaking there, because you cannot serve two masters. You cannot love yourself and yet withhold good things from yourself because you are offended. Choose one. As I keep telling you, Deuteronomy 28, today I put before you life and death. Choose life, because you can only pick one. You can only have one master. I love your question, Cyber. It is a very beautiful question. How does everyone as you pushed out come into play? Are the people and situations that caused the bitterness not actually to blame? See, let me find the words here to explain this. Everybody as you pushed out, yes. Yes, indeed. You see, when we are busy living our lives, if you live your life from a place of hurt, victimhood, then the situations that you encounter for you to get the other offenses that go along with that, that's just from you living where you were, living what you learned, your own vibration at that point, right? That's why we don't blame ourselves, and that's why we don't judge ourselves, but we learn. If you look at your life and you say, yeah, dang it, this is always happening to me. Why do people always take advantage of me? Something in your life is running in the background that makes you behave in that way. Buffering, I don't know if you guys can still hear me or not, but we were just buffering there for a minute. Whenever you are living your life from a particular vibration, any vibration, whether you want to call it a high or a low vibration, if you're living your life from that vibration, all of the interactions you have, you and the vibration you live from. So if you say, why are people always taking advantage of me? Right? Then there's something running in the background. There's a window open that you don't know is open. Right? There's something running back there that you are unaware of that causes you to behave in a particular way. But once you see it and you question it and you say, ooh, why do I behave like that? And you start to recognize things like fear of being abandoned, fear of being rejected. Then you say, oh, snap. I've been living that way, and I've been a people pleaser because I didn't want to be alone because I was afraid of rejection. I just wanted to be accepted. Yes. But now when you change that mentality, when you use the law of correspondence to change it, well, you're using all of them, but when you use the law to change who you currently are to who you want to become, now the vibration changes, and now the interactions will change as well. But always remember, because we are running parallel to 8 billion other vibrations, you're going to see something over here that might ruffle your feathers. You'll see it because you're running. You're next to it. We're intertwined. We're interconnected, us humans. But if that thing that you see, that other vibration that you see and sense and feel, is not a pleasant one, meaning you've encountered a Karen and she put in front of the line with her 2 items because she didn't see you there, if that's what happened, right? If this person cut in front of you in the line and she's like, oh my God, I didn't see you there. You got 2 choices. You can simply say, Because you didn't see me doesn't mean I wasn't there, but I understand. And let it go. Or you can say, I will put my foot in your butt and you'll see me. You see what I'm saying? We are always privy to these other vibrations that we're running next to. But you get to choose which ones you're going to connect into with. So let me go back and say these things that happen when we cut out. I mean, I did just say it, but based upon that question, then you have to ask yourself, then why do bad things happen to children and those that are weaker? Why do bad things happen? Did they bring it upon themselves? Your care. Your child is in your care. Your vibration is the one that is the umbrella for them. Your vibration is under the umbrella. They're under your vibrational umbrella because they're little. They're dependent upon you. This is why in traditional Chinese medicine, in order to treat the child, you have to treat the mother. Anything that you're responsible for is under your vibrational umbrella. So this is why now, when things happen, right? If you have found yourself in a situation where you're being mistreated, okay? Did you ask for that? Did the child ask for it? That's why I tell you, yes, everybody is you pushed out. We all are. But there are instances where your life, whatever that you grew up under, shaped you and molded you. And you didn't change, you just remain that particular adult now. You're still living under that vibration. So now anybody that you get, anybody that you bring into the world is now going to be under that. But what you get to do is, if you examine the situation and you say, oh my God, well, I was raised in a particular way and I don't want that from my child, and you change, then the child's circumstances will change also. So now their external environment will change vibrationally because of the change the mother made. So we're never stuck in a situation. I trust that that made sense because I didn't want to poke at that one because sometimes it can be hard to hear that. And that's why we learn, we don't blame, and we don't judge. Maya Angelou said, when you know better, you do better. But if you didn't know that your vibration was whatever it was because you were raised a particular way, and you stay in that, that's what you know. So because you know it, you live it. But when you learn a new way and you change, now you know something else. And you are in a position to choose, ooh, I didn't like how I started out, but I want to end up over here, so I'm going to change. And that's why, depending on where you've come from in your life, in your beginnings, if you're holding resentment or anger towards a caregiver, you know, and you find that your life has been struggle after struggle after struggle after struggle, your vibration has to change. Not for their sake, but yours, because you feel it within yourself. God, I don't want to be in this position anymore, is what you're saying to yourself. And you don't want to be there anymore. But in order to move from there, you must move here first. It is the acknowledgement of, I don't like being here. I want to be there, right there. And then you've raised yourself. And then the ideas come and you say, oh, I can do this. I can do that. I can do that. And you keep moving yourself along. So that now what the other interactions are that you come across, they match your change. I see. I trust that made sense, Cyber. I trust that made sense. Um, are there any questions? Are there any other questions? Because I really loved that question as well, because it is a very popular question, right? Um, you you say to yourself, "Oh my God, I'm watching this. I'm watching them be successful, and I'm over here suffering." That, as I said earlier, before most of you got here, they are out there prospering because they ain't thinking about you. They're not thinking about the bad they did. They're not feeling guilty. They're not feeling ashamed of themselves. They're not. That's why it appears like they're doing so much better than you are. But again, it appears because we don't know why they behaved the way that they did. And the reason they did it, like, we don't know the true cause. We only know that it's something that happened in their lives that they developed over time because they had a particular event. That's what we can tell you we know. We know exactly, Miss T-versation, the apple does not fall far from the tree. That's why the vibration that you grew up under is what will dictate your life if you don't become aware of it and change it. And most of us, because we are entitled to the anger, the bitterness, the resentment, and the rage, because we are entitled to it, now that is what is taught to us. Well, you're entitled to feel that way. You get your justice. You fight. You blah. You do this. But at no time does someone intervene to tell you the more you hold it, the worse your life becomes. Not theirs. Oh God, no, never theirs. Yours. Because the law is not looking at them. The law is looking at you. This is... Do you feel me today? Do you understand what I'm saying? Because that's what we're taught all the time. You deserve. Fight for your rights, blah, blah, blah. Like, and the minute that becomes the focus, now we always have to fight. Because it's what we programmed ourselves to do. That's what we've programmed ourselves to do. Because we want the justice, right? But because we don't see the big picture, we stay right where we are. And we don't grow from there. All because nobody says, yeah, I know, but here's how you do it. You must hold yourself in high esteem, which means I am the best. I deserve the best. Not because it's a mindless affirmation, but because as within, so without. So what are you going to do? Here's an actual step. I have my notepad. If you say, man, I don't get no respect. So you say, okay, I don't get any respect right now. No respect. You write that on your page. I'm going to show it to you when I'm done. Cyber, I like that. I'm going to read it there for you in a second. Cyber says, now I only experience anger from family because I don't know poverty and fear mindset. The cycle's been broken. Well, yeah, exactly. So you see, the anger that you broke free of, the anger that you used to feed under from them also. Remember, because it was generational, right? It's just learned behavior. And it was learned behavior generation after generation because it was taught generation after generation after generation. That's what makes it generational. So when you say, I don't know if you can see it, but you say, I get no respect. I want respect. So what action can I take in here? I can say, I'll be here on time. I'll be here at this time. And you do it over and over and over again. And if somebody does not respect your punctuality and they are always late, you must say, I'm sorry. I would appreciate you being on time because that gives us more time together. You see how you can say that without saying, heck, where you been? Like we don't have to be that way. We don't have to be that way. You can simply say, hey, our time together is important to me. So let's be punctual so we can milk this time for all it's worth. You hear it? Because what does that do now? You open the door for someone to change. But if you, listen, if you come with, I've been waiting here for you all this time, you don't respect me, right? Them is fighting words. A soft answer turns away wrath. So now you take yourself from no respect. This one over here. Look, mirror is not my favorite thing. So you take yourself from there and you say, okay, I'm going to be punctual. If anybody's not punctual with me, I'll correct it right away. If they still do it, I'll correct it again. Because even if you have to correct it again and again and again, where are you going? Towards respect. But if you don't speak up to say, listen, come on now, you stay in the place of not being respected. That's the actual action step you take to garner and boost your own self-respect by following that step every single time. So when you look at it and you say, ooh, I still feel disrespected. How do you feel disrespected? You feel disrespected because someone didn't say thank you. Or you feel disrespected because somebody was late. You feel disrespected because somebody didn't show up. Then you say, listen, that was rude behavior. If you say you're going to do something, you've got to follow through, because I follow through, don't I? It's what you say. And you say it like that, in that tone. Because now you are building your own self-respect by behaving like a person who respects themselves. Does that make sense? Shekna. Wait, I gotta post this. And I'm gonna read it. Shekna, wow, your live yesterday helped me so much. You are welcome. You obtained a new job that you wanted, and you have it. Well, you're welcome. I just taught you the law, and now you're applying it to your own life, and that is what matters. You're not just a hearer of the word, you are a doer of the word. That's what you are. That's why you can come here today and share your testimony. Not because you heard somebody say something and you believed them. No, you put it into practice and now you know. Now that's what I'm talking about. Now you know. And that's why I want to tell people, don't believe what I tell you. You got to know it. So how do you know the law? You have a mind and you think. That is the law of mentalism. Correspondence means what you plant in the ground, you will reap. Vibration means everything moves. You can feel it in your body because you know what anger feels like. You know what love feels like. So vibration, you can feel it. Polarity, you know, because we got love and we got hate. We got joy, we got sadness. Polarity. Rhythm, oh, we got night and day. We got the seasons. That's rhythm. Causation, Jump up, you're going to jump down. You're going to fall down again. Up, down. Cause and effect. And gender. Oh, you see, this is the tricky one that people don't always get. Masculine is to project outward. Feminine is to accept and give it form. So who else does that? Males project. Females accept and give form too. That is the law. So you don't need to believe me. You can see them all around you because you know them. All I'm teaching you is how to apply them from being so big down to you. That's all I'm teaching you. And when you apply it, now you can walk, Shekna. You can, when you, listen, when you walk into a job that you gave to yourself, tell me what your attitude is going to be. Your attitude is one of confidence. Your attitude is one of self-reliance. I know I did this. Cause and effect brought this to me. And now that when you work there, you don't just work there because you're trying to pay your bills. We know everybody works because we got to pay bills. That's understood. But you're there, you are happy, and you are respectful to be there. Why? Because you brought it to yourself, and it has value to you. That's why now when you go to work, your attitude is different from your fellow employees. You see it? See what we do? I'm dancing for you, Shekna. Wait, I can get in the chat and give you some confetti. And so this is why we need to remember our value. You are the one who gives everything around you value. You don't get your value from things. You give things value. Because you are the one with the power to bestow value upon it. But these things get bogged down underneath anger, bitterness, resentment. They get bogged down under there. Look at how much more you can expand when you put those things into perspective. When you say, yeah, I'm justified, but you know what? And here's the thing. Well, Angela, how are you supposed to know when to seek justice and when not? You'll know. How will you know? You will know. Because the law shows you when to be still and when to move. When to speak and when to be silent. The law shows you every time. That's what it is. Yes, Miss T-Versation, you're the one who gives things value. You are. Because what's $5? What is $5? Some people say, $5 is not as much as $1 million. And that's why when they want to manifest money, they struggle with it. Because they've given the $1 million more value than the 5. But do you know that back in, was it the Great Depression? They burned money because money was paper. So what was more valuable, the money or warmth? Money or warmth? Which was more valuable back then? Exactly, the warmth was more valuable, so they burnt the money. Burned the money to stay warm. They weren't thinking about poor. They were thinking about living, about being warm so they didn't freeze to death. So which one of those things had more value? That's what I'm saying to you today. Now, are there any more questions? Because Shekna's got me all fired up. Shekna's got me all fired up. So if there are more questions, ask them. so that we can expand more, like the those blooming teas. Like, you pour the water on it and they just bloom. Yeah, we can do that with the law some more. That's why I tell you every single day, the law is absolutely amazing. And when you begin to see it for yourself, Lord have mercy. Now you begin to understand your power. Ah, yeah. Then you know. Because that's where you live from. You live from what you know. You can't ask the electrician to be a carpenter because he doesn't know how. You live from what you know. I have to sneeze. Pardon me. Hallelujah. Yes, Miss Versation, you share, but you must be selective. You know why you're saying, oh, I gotta sneeze again. Who is talking about me? That's what I want to know. Yeah. When because you get a sense, yeah? You get a sense of when someone says something or the way they behave, you get a sense in the undercurrent that says, I don't know if I should share this. I'm gonna hold my tongue. And you don't share it. You don't share it because you don't want them to be happy for you. You don't share it because you feel something in the undercurrent. That is discernment. And over time, you get better with practicing discernment. Well, Shekna, honey, let me ask you this question. That job, did you know something about yourself when you brought that job to you? Whenever you answer, I'll respond because there's a method here. Because when you apply the law to one situation, you apply the law to all situations. The law is immutable. It doesn't change. You're the one who changes. So what did you change and modify about your self-concept, your perception of yourself that brought that job to you? Then what is it that you need to modify about yourself to bring your lover to you? Which word? You see, it's not impossible because you're only recreating you. The job was the perfect fit because it fit you. It corresponded to you. So the lover will be the same. All right. So you see, you knew yourself. You knew you were ready to move. You understand? So now that you knew you were ready to move, yeah? What within you did that? We're gonna draw it out today because your lover is a reflection of you. Wanna be your lover? Don't make me sing Prince up in here. Right? Your lover is a reflection of you. So here's something. If you hear, oh my God, hon, you burnt the food, you gonna lose your cool? Or you're gonna say, well, how about you cook next time and I'll be your sous chef? You gotta have a sense of humor. Do you have a sense of humor? Because listen, the world, learning how to laugh and live in the world, that's where you want to be. Laughter raises and elevates the vibration. It truly does. So do you have a great sense of humor? Are you a quick thinker? What kind of person are you? What kind of companion are you? And that is the kind of companion. You said, but Angela, I love long walks on the beach. Ah, so you're romantic. So are they. So are they. This is how you do it. It's not, the job is not different from the lover because you are the same person. Cyber asks, do we feel gratitude for our current circumstances even though it's far removed from our end? Better job is a great example, actually. Okay. Hey, Walter, do you feel gratitude for your current circumstances? Examine the law of rhythm here in this situation. Wanting a new job is the ebb. Having the new job is the flow. What is it that you see, being in the ebb is not a place to grudge, meaning you have to find a reason to have gratitude. Being in the ebb is a time to master you. Look at winter. The ground is rock hard, but yet the garlic is alive underneath there, It's burrowing down. We're in the ebb. We're in winter. Nothing seems to be happening. So when you are in the ebb, you take that time to assess, because the ebb and flow, where have you seen left and right before? Polarity, right? In the ebb, you are here. In the flow, you are here. So you say, okay, I acknowledge where I'm at. And then you say, where do I want to be? I want to be over here. So I don't have the job. I want this job. Now you say, what skills do I have? And you begin to list them. You list the skills that you have. Remember, this is why I write on the paper. Let me move this here for a second so that we can see a little bit better. So then you say, job, no job. You write one on the other side. And then you begin to write down all of your skills. I'm punctual, I'm this, I'm good with people, I like working alone, I'm good with this, I'm good with that. And you work your way all the way over to the job. Why? So that when you put this thing in the search engine, because you want to find a job, when you put it in the search engine, that thing that you said that you are will pop right up. Another example, I told this one yesterday, but it was relevant because I did some auditions this morning, and the same thing happened again today. I said, look, man, I want to narrate better quality books. And you know what I like to talk about, self-improvement, the law, those kinds of things. And I made that determination. I said, that's what I want. And so I went in and the first page of books popped up. I did 6 auditions from that one page, all along the lines of who I said I was. Better quality content I want to narrate. That's what you do. You gotta take yourself from where you are right now. Because where was I? I wanted more books. But I didn't just want more books. I wanted books with better content. Life-changing content is what I wanted. And so I said, okay, well, this is the kind of person I am, and these are the books I want. I open up the page. One after the other I auditioned for. And I love a good memoir. Yes? So that's what you do. You move yourself along polarity from to. What step are you taking from here? That's why the ebb is important. There's a lot of stuff that happens in the ebb. You learn and you auto-correct the self in the ebb so that when you flow, hey, you're flowing where you should be. So the ebb is singleness. The ebb is singleness. You're currently single. Where do you want to be? What kind of, remember, I said I want to narrate more books, but what kind of books did I want to narrate? What kind of relationship do you want? What kind of relationship do you want? So based upon that, now in the ebb, you begin to say, okay, this is the type of relationship I want. Because I'm over here and singleness is not fun, but this is the kind of relationship I want. So how do I prepare myself? Because I'm in the ebb. You think you're in the ebb because that's a time to be lazy? No, you're in the ebb because that's the time to get it together. That's the time to get it together. Listen, the ebb is when I burnt that loaf of bread or I burnt those buns so that I could learn how to do them better, so that when I baked and I sold my buns, they were on point. The ebb is that time for you to make a mistake, to look at even mistakes you've made in the past and say, ooh, I know what I want to be now. And you alter yourself. You counter. You understand? That's the reason for the ebb. So singleness, now ask that question again. Do you need to feel gratitude for your current circumstance? See if you can answer the question now, Cyber. That's why I tell you the ebb is not a place to grudge. The ebb is a place to get yourself fortified so that when the flow comes, you're not saying, hold on a minute. You're saying, whee, and you're going with the flow. But you got to prepare yourself in the ebb. There's a Bible story about that. Prepare yourself because the bridegroom cometh. The ebb is a time for preparation. So gratitude is not something we fake. There's always been a time in your life where you felt gratitude. And if you've never felt gratitude, somebody you know has. So you live vicariously through them and you feel their gratitude so that you can feel it in your own body and begin to live it. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? I trust that it does. Ask away. And we're going to put the law in there. Oh. I'm gonna look in the chat because I can do it on my iPad. Well, Cyber, the bridge isn't always pretty. Well, it's a matter of perspective, isn't it? If you're moving along the thing that's taking you towards what you want, it matters not what you walk over. It's that this is why the eye on the prize is most important. It's not the bridge that is your problem. If you have time to walk across that bridge towards your destination and the good sugar sweetness that you want, and you have time to notice the bridge, Cyber. Nah, you don't have time to notice the bridge when you're going towards what it is you love and you want. You just skip. You just skip over the bridge. You know how kids are wee and they skip over the bridge. That's what you're doing over the bridge to get to where you want to go. So you do it, and you do it how? With pleasure. That's how you do it. And gratitude is born out of that. Gratitude is an effect. Make sense? So, are there any more questions? If not, I'm going to go and I'm in the ebb right now. I ordered a kitchen table and it's here because I needed to replace the old one. And so I finally got around to it and it said, your shipment is delayed. Estimated delivery date, the 9th of March. But it says it's delayed. And I was like, oh my God. And I heard this commotion outside while I was setting up. And I looked out the window and I was like, UPS. Let me tell you, it was a kid on Christmas. I ran to the front door. So now I want to put it up. I want to put it up because I'm excited. But you know what I'm telling you? We are in a really great space. You must take the time, my friends, to not grudge the ebb, but use it. Oh, internet. It might be a little bit cold for it. Um, but we must take the time to appreciate the ebb. And then, not only that, recognize that you're the one with your value. You set the value for yourself. That is what you do. Set your value for yourself. Because when you do that, my goodness, come now. You think somebody can come along and tell you, well, no, you're not. Let me read what you're saying here, Cyber. Would love to see you do some manifesting love content. That bit where you use it. Yes, because it's just one of those things. We've put so much weight on it, right? We put so much weight on the companionship. We truly have, that we lose sight of the pleasure of it. You must recapture the pleasure of companionship, because let's face it, this is why we're in companionship, for the pleasure. You hear what I'm saying? The companionship, you get to laugh together, you get to walk together, talk together, lock eyes together. That is what should propel you. But you see, we don't do that. We say, oh my God, if I don't have this relationship, then my life is over. That's what we say. And we lose sight of the beauty of the companionship. Because think about this for a moment. If you spend your time being excited about the companionship, you feel it in your body, right? When you think of your companionship, you want to say things like, or you want to feel like, oh, I've been thinking of you all day, darling. What time do you get home? Are we having dinner first or dessert first? Like, I mean, things like that, where you start to take the pleasure in it. You know why? Because if you create your companionship built upon pleasure, I'm not talking about raunchy here. I'm talking about you are so happy to be in the presence and the arms of your companion that you cherish them, they cherish you. You respect them, they respect you. Do you hear me? So now you will be in a position where your companionship is simply built on laughter and trust and joy. Because that's how you modeled it after you. But if you model your relationship after desperation of wanting it and needing to have it, as within, so without. So model how you want your companion to be. I can go anywhere and be the best receptionist because I know me. I know me. Same thing, you've got to know you when it comes to who are you in this companionship. Who are you in it? Do you listen with the heart as opposed to the ear? Do you speak words of edification? Do you speak words of edification to yourself? Because if you don't speak words of edification to yourself, how are you going to speak words of edification to your companion? This is what we do. We practice because there will come a time that you get to perform what you have practiced. But if we spend time complaining, what do we get to do? Complain some more. So you have to spend the time to practice. What kind of dinners do you want to cook? These are the questions. What kind of dinners do you want? What kind of restaurants do you want to go to? How do you want them to react? Whether you give or you receive the flowers or the chocolates. Shoot, bring me some cheesecake, baby. But, how do you want them to respond? How do you want to respond when you give them something? This is what I'm saying. Take great pleasure in creating the type of companionship you want to build. You must build it within yourself first. Why? Because then you have a blueprint. You don't see the contractor, the engineer going out there and saying, well, I don't know what this house is going to look like because I don't have a plan. I don't have schematics, so I'm going to just wing it. That's not what he does. You sketch it. Put it together, because now that is the ideal by which you strive for. And that is what, as within, so without, you recreate. That's what you do. I'm waiting for the testimony. Don't worry. I'm waiting for the testimony, because it seems like we are on a testimony high around here. Ah. And remember this when I tell you, no testimony is small. Do you know why it's not small? Because you had to put in the work. When somebody writes me and says, oh my God, Angela, I was homeless and I did what you said, and now I have my place for me and my child. So why would a relationship be different? It isn't. Nothing is big or small. It is, where did you put your attention? And what are you seeing come towards you? You have seed stage. You have sprout stage. You have sapling stage, tree stage, blossom stage, fruit stage. What stage are you in? Every stage that you are in, the manifestations will change to match. I'm just saying that to you today. I trust it made sense. I hope I didn't holler too hard at anybody. Sometimes I just get so fired up, just excited. I really do get excited about these things. And so, yeah. Are there any more questions before we go? Because I want to make sure that I've answered your questions, so that when you realize that you're dealing with anger and you're holding on to it, anger towards somebody, it's a boomerang, man. When you throw the anger, it comes right back to you. It's not about the other person. And I say it with great care, because I understand that we've been through things. I get it. I know we've been through things and we've been hurt. But you are who gives you value. And the law shows that to you every day, all day. If your value inside is bitter melon, well, shoot. Or is your value inside the ripest, most plump mango there is? See that sweetness? I know I equate so many things to fruit, because I love fruit. But does that make sense? As within, so without. This is what the law tells you. So however you see yourself within is how others will see you. And that is also how you will behave on the outside. So see yourself as the best. Because we already know how it feels to see ourselves as the worst. And we don't want that, do we? No, we don't. So I'm just saying, I'm going to sip and give y'all a moment. And if there aren't any more questions, we'll go. I trust that makes sense. Let me look at the chat here and make sure that I've got everybody, that I didn't miss anyone. There. That looks like everything was covered, I think. So, thank you all for being here. Let's see. Tomorrow's my birthday. Yay! Tomorrow's my bestie's birthday. Yay! You know how it is. So if anybody else has a birthday on March the 10th, hey, drop it in the chat, man, so we can all celebrate together. And then on the 11th, we have the sound bath for the YouTube members. And then, what else? There'll be another testimonial time also. But I noticed how we had these testimonials peppered throughout. I like that. Is there anything else I want to tell you that's happening? No, but I might do another live stream tomorrow. Oh yeah. Because there's something that a lot of us need to know. And if you want to know what that is, come back tomorrow and I'll tell you in the live stream. Same time. We'll see. It might be the same time, maybe a little bit later. I have not decided. But I look forward to seeing you again, my beautiful friends. Thank you, Cyber, Walter, Shekna. Congratulations. Hey, Miss Conversation. Double A. Ms. M. K Frame. A Not, Ruby, Empress Ella. Thank you all for being here today and spending your time with me. Oh, Shekna, no worries. No worries. It's always a pleasure to share the law. And much love to you, Double A. Much love to you also. All right, everybody. Much, much love to you. And I'll see you soon.